Welcome. Good evening, everyone, to the Cover One podcast. We have a special event tonight with the crossover Cover One Buffalo Cover One Draft live draft event. You are joining Greg Thompson along with Russell Brown. Russell, busy man. How are you doing today?
Ready to get drunk. How are we? How are we all doing?
It's been such a long journey to get to this point. There's been so many mocks and so many scenarios and trade ups and trade downs, and it's just I'm so glad it's finally here.
Yes, it's been a long 10 months. I'm starting to lose my voice, I think, from being all over the country, and it's been a lot of fun though. So I'm excited for tonight. We got like 2 minutes, and the pick will probably be in.
Yeah. I think everything that we're hearing, it sounds like there was some last-minute scuttle that maybe it was Quinnen Williams, maybe Bosa was still getting calls, but it sounds like it's coming in at Kyler Murray here. But I don't remember the last time that we didn't for sure know the top pick going into the draft.
Yeah, it's weird. I was in a radio show in Denver today, and they had talked about And they talked about Kyler Murray, and I was like, it's weird not knowing the first pick. Like normally the pick is tipped by now, here we are. So, I think he'll be the first pick. Also, I'd like to tell people that my apologies when my family walks in. My son's at baseball right now. When they walk in, it's going to sound like a stampede, and I swear it's not me. So.
No, we'll be fine.
If
someone breaks into my hotel room, I need you guys to alert the authorities. That means something's gone terribly wrong.
Well, never mind. I was going to say something about Tyreek Hill, but never mind.
Oh, yeah. For anyone who has not been on Twitter in the last hour, some really genuinely disturbing information has come out on Tyreek Hill and the circumstances around his son's situation that – although it does not sound like they were able to bring charges in the case, it does sound like there's some very serious information available that I don't want to speculate, but I certainly assume there's going to be disciplinary action taken. So I'm sure if anyone goes online, that's not what Russell and I are here for tonight. You can find plenty of that if you go poke around, but it's not good and certainly concerning. If our thoughts go out to the child here. Everybody's going to talk about the football end of it, but there's a kid caught in the middle here. That's a real shame.
Yeah, and I think us as both as parents. I mean, it's you got literally the world in the palm of your hand, and it just doesn't make any sense, especially when it comes to a kid, man. Like it's one thing if you do it to a dude at a bar, but it's another thing when you do it to your own kids. So. Crazy. Oh, what? Booger McFarland's on the ESPN broadcast?
I've chosen to go NFL Network. So I've got Kurt Warner and I've got Daniel Jeremiah and Rich Eisen. I'm happy with my choice for the night.
I'm going with ESPN for now because I like to listen to Mel Kiper freak out a little bit at times, like just going nuts. But I was hoping now Booger was in his cart and he's not.
You got to put him in the Booger Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. But
some other news for anyone who is joining late here, hasn't seen it. There's some speculation that Russell and I are both a little curious about that the Bills may be talking with the intra-division Jets on a trade up to 3. That is highly abnormal, not something you normally see for many reasons. But, I don't know if you want to share some of your thoughts on why you'd be surprised to see an inter-division trade there on letting the Bills move up to 3 and why that might be a little surprising from your side.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting because they're division rivals, and we were talking about it before the show as we were figuring out the audio aspect of our troubles, and hopefully everybody can hear me okay. But with the Jets, I mean, you're trading with the division rival possibly and giving up an elite talent to a team that you're going to play twice a year. That's in your division, and you are now basically asking your offensive line that's not that great to block that elite talent because it's either going to be Quinnen Williams or Ed Oliver, whoever they rank higher, and I'm assuming it's Quinnen Williams, who's the best player in the draft. Mm-hmm. So it's weird, man. I don't understand why the Bills would want to give the Jets ammunition to build their team around Sam Darnold, and it's weird that the Jets would want to give the Bills an elite talent, but maybe that's their theory. Like, okay, we'll take the ammunition out of the gun for them, out of the chamber. And basically what we'll do is we'll load up and they'll get stuck with, yes, a really good player, but maybe in 4 or 5 years when they have to pay their quarterback, they're not going to be able to pay this guy. Maybe. I don't really know how they're thinking it. I would definitely, and I've suggested this before I don't have a ton of inside sources or anything. I go to Twitter like the next person and, whatever, but I always just thought of the Jets as a trade down candidate simply for the fact that they have to build around Sam Darnold.
Sure.
They had
try to recoup some of the value they gave up last year.
Yeah, they've got 6 picks in the draft, and they have a mediocre offensive line. They don't have really an elite number 1 wide receiver. I kind of am curious, would they move down and look at a player like a DK Metcalf? I would hope they looked at a Jonah Williams if he was there, or an Andre Dillard, or even a Jawan Taylor, if either one of those players were there. And, they have a ton of money guaranteed on Le'Veon Bell. You have to make sure that investment works out offensively. Defensively, you've got a ton of money in CJ Mosley. You have to hope that investment works out as well. So adding an edge rusher, adding an offensive line is very much in the cards for the Jets in this draft.
And we talked about it a little bit in the Cover One Premium Slack. I know we've got a ton of guys in the chat here for the YouTube show from the Slack sliding over. The only scenario I can tell myself, Bean is such a value shopper kind of guy, can never turn down a good deal. The only thing I can tell myself is it's been out there for weeks that Maccagnan has been desperate to trade down, and that if Bean simply tells himself, hey, I can get up to number 3 for 80 cents on the dollar, and I can't turn that down, I don't care if it's within the division or not, I could see him convincing himself that that's worthwhile. Now, I still think it's far-fetched. I'll still be surprised if it happens, but that's the one story I can kind of tell myself that would make sense, that he just can't turn down the value of it, even if it is within division.
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, like, for me personally, I look like a genius on yesterday's show talking about the Bills never staying put. I mean, it's true. It does. I wouldn't have been – and if they don't trade up, I still wouldn't be surprised if they traded down. It would not surprise me. But, like, essentially what we're saying is, the Bills at 9 and at 40 would package that together, probably with one of their 5th-round picks and probably a pick next year maybe. And I'm not saying a first-rounder.
No.
But, let's say their 3rd-round pick next year. So 940, 147, and a 3rd-rounder next year to get into the top 5 of this draft, top 3, and get your guy. I mean, I don't see an issue with that.
No. If you can lock up someone like Quinnen Williams, I'd sign up for that all day.
Yeah, and if you're the Jets, I mean, I wouldn't be passing on Quinnen Williams, but I would be taking that ammunition, certainly, because I don't feel confident enough in Jamison Crowder, Robbie Anderson, and the guys that they have. And now you have Le'Veon Bell, you have Chris Herndon, but you still need an offensive line. You have to protect Sam Darnold. And I think going into, you saw parts of last year where he got dinged up with his ankle and everything. I mean, you saw all that, and it was like, well, it's kind of important to protect this guy.
Yeah, so I think we're finally seeing the official kickoff here, so we are officially underway. I think there's a couple different scenarios. I know Nathan in the chat brought up that the rumor is, I think Miller with Bleacher Report is reporting that the Raiders are trying to counter the offer. I think you brought that up while we were prepping here. I think we could definitely see multiple moves. I saw one earlier of the Jets and the Giants swapping, which could get the Giants to move up to 3 for Daniel Jones. Maybe someone moves up to that number 4 pick, like the Redskins or the Bengals for Haskins. If the Jets drop to 6, I've said all along, I actually thought number 5 was the spot that made sense for the Bills to move up for Quinnen Williams, because then you can really do it without having to sacrifice a ton of assets. You could do a 3rd, a 4th, and 5th to maybe jump up to number 5 without sacrificing number 40. I'd love that just from a spite standpoint of then leapfrogging the Jets to get ahead of them for Williams. Right. But I think it's very interesting to see some movement here. I know you're a big Lions fan. As we kind of get into the mess here, I've heard a lot about maybe the Falcons jumping up from 14, or maybe even the Steelers from 20 to get up to number 8 for one of the linebackers, or if Ed Oliver falls. Do you have a cutoff that's a bridge too far that you don't want to drop as a Lions fan?
Yeah, 23.
23 is your cutoff?
Yeah, they talked about the Texans. Well, I'm never cut off. Greg, ever.
The whiskey can always come out.
Exactly. Maker's Mark is there. So if they move down and they draft the freaking quarterback, it's going to get bad. They better. Is this explicit? Can I go like uncensored?
We can check the box. We can make it right.
Fuck, man. They better not do it. But, yeah, no. So with the Lions, yeah, I think you can't go beyond 23. 20 would even be a little steep in my opinion, but they certainly are looking to get extra picks. There's no secret about it. Bob Quinn's talked about it in the media, in the local media and in the national media. I think part of it is you look at Christian Wilkins. He's kind of key right now, obviously Ed Oliver as well. And I'd be pretty mad if they traded back and passed on Ed Oliver, because the thought of Ed Oliver with Snacks Harrison in the interior, you can't block that. I mean, you can't double team it. And if you do, you're freeing up a guy and somebody's eating all day.
Oh, yeah.
And I just have a hard time believing that they would pass on that opportunity to draft him.
Yeah, I'm awful curious to see. I think we're going to see a lot of movement. You had joked yesterday with us about that the Bills never stay still. So I think that it's going to be really a lot of movement. I put the over under at 1.5. I would definitely take the over. And I predicted at least 3 trades. So 3 trades of,
that's over
moving down, a couple moving up. I think we're going to see multiple movements. Everyone said the entire time, there's no way that we're going to see, 10 picks make the roster, and we're going to see that movement. For anybody watching on TV, it looks like the Hampton family just won 100 years of season tickets. That's a pretty cool prize to win. That was the NFL's giveaway for their 100th anniversary. They were going to give one family a set of 4 season tickets for 100 years.
Well, first of all, why didn't any of you at Cover One tell me about this? And 2, why couldn't I sign up? I want this. And by the way, folks, if I zone out, just don't mind me. And if I snap your fingers or something, Greg, because I this is like I said, this is Christmas for me, so I zone in quite hard, all the time. So
we're just going live here to have fun and see what we can make of the evening.
And I'm reading Jeremiah's big board too. I love that he had Drew Sample at 78, which is higher than I had, and I love Drew Sample.
Honestly, Jeremiah is the reason I'm watching NFL Network. Is that I love Daniel Jeremiah, a huge fan of the Move the Sticks podcast. I was excited to see him finally get a chance to take over for Mayock, and that he's the primary reason that I'm rolling with NFL Network tonight and eschewing the fun of watching Kaiir freak out.
What I don't understand is how we don't have Todd McShay on ESPN. I mean, Mel and Todd can be a little over the top, but how is Todd McShay, after all these months of hard work, you got him in there? No, you don't. You got Booger McFarland in there. How does that even make sense?
Honestly, the only thing I can think of, and I mean this genuinely, I almost bet it's in Mel Kiper's contract.
Yeah, it could be.
I almost bet that he's got exclusive rights of it until he says so, or they kind of force him into his next deal. Because otherwise, you're right. It's crazy from an asset standpoint how much you're paying. Unless is he running a different one on ESPN2 or on ABC or something? Because how can you pay him that much money and then not have him be a lead anchor on his, like you said, this is his Christmas. This is your, draft guys. This is what you've built up this entire year for, is to now unload all of your info. So he's got to be somewhere ready to go to. So maybe it's just, I don't know. I always wonder how contentious their relationship is.
Right. Well, it's weird. They showed Kyler Murray. There's no response or reaction there.
He doesn't have a phone in his hand yet?
Doesn't have a phone.
I know you were talking about another rumor before we jumped on. It sounded like the Dolphins might be jumping into the fray with Rosen.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be the Giants and the Dolphins. It's going to be interesting. But at the same time, Dave Gettleman said there's quarterbacks in this draft that they like. So,
yeah, I don't want to hear that, because once I heard the possibility of Daniel Jones going to the Giants in front of the Bills and the Lions, I want that Christmas present. I need them to put Daniel Jones as the top 8 pick. I need that in my life.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think both teams would be wise, Dolphins and Giants, to take a look at Josh Rosen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, no matter what you're trying to do, I mean, maybe you don't give up a first rounder this year, but even if you did it next year, who's to say next year's even any better than this year? You never know. So if you don't know, you know what you have in Josh Rosen, you know you can develop them and put a team around them. Might as well do it.
Yeah, I still feel strongly. I don't get the Kyler Murray trade myself. Or the Kyler Murray pick. I would much rather take the Kings ransom for that number 1 pick and then use those assets to surround Josh Rosen versus now selling Josh Rosen for 80 cents on the dollar and using the number 1 pick for Murray. But it sounds like that's what's going to happen. So let's assume that is the case. If you're any team, I think Rosen is debatably the number 1 quarterback in this class if he was out now. Plus, the Cardinals already paid his roster bonuses, so I think whoever trades for him takes on 3 years and $6 million of remaining money. So you get even better than a rookie contract. You almost get like the Russell Wilson version of rookie discount. So I think it's crazy that teams wouldn't be jumping over themselves. So when they were talking about that Rosen was available for a 3rd rounder and stuff like that, no, he's not. That there's no way that they were giving him up there. And if he was, that trade already would have been made 5 times over. You would have teams stumbling over each other to get him for a 3rd. So they're waiting for a mid to late 1st is my guess, and they'll settle for a high 2nd is my guess. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if that happens tonight or if nothing does happen, if we see that at midday tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if they get a 2nd for him, and let's say it's the Giants, hypothetically speaking, which if I was the Giants, I would be doing that all day. And then if you're Arizona, you have picks at 33 and 37. So, what are you waiting for? Like, do that all day.
Oh yeah, you're telling me if I have the choice of Josh Rosen for a 2nd rounder, keeping both my 1st rounders and using that to surround talent there, or picking Daniel Jones at number 6. That's a tough choice.
Right. Oh yeah.
But again, I don't put anything past Dave Gettleman. I was joking on a podcast I was on earlier today. I think Gettleman and Gruden are both in that. I think Bill Simmons calls it the Mike Tyson zone, where you could tell me literally any story, and I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, I believe that." So there's almost any pick that could come up for for the Giants, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that checks out." I could totally see them taking Jay Sternberger 17. Yeah.
No, I really could. I mean, Dave Gettleman's like a maniac like that. I do think their first pick, I don't think it'll be Daniel Jones. I think that first pick will be an edge rusher. I'm hoping Josh Allen would have fallen to the Lions, but I don't think it's going to happen. But
I know there was a lot of early connection with them and Montez Sweat, and then all of a sudden all of the heart condition stuff came out and everybody assumed he was dropping like Maurice Hurst last year. And then today you have the weird report that comes out that says it's was an erroneous diagnosis and that they mismeasured the width of the wall heart or something crazy. And, being able to kind of go through and figure out where that stands. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, but I know there were some early connections from from the guys there in the Giants and Montez Sweat. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if the Lions were to trade down and they were to get Montez Sweat, I'd be all for it because I think he's a top 10 player in the class. So I kind of hope that happens.
Yeah, I was huge on Sweat, and I kind of backed off a little bit when the heart stuff came out and kind of secretly hoped that maybe he did tumble and maybe the Bills could get him like a Maurice Hurst kind of discount and all of a sudden stumble on a talent like that at 40 or even, heck, 74 would be amazing. But I don't know. It sounded kind of crazy, but we'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see. It's an interesting test case with what happened with Hurst last year and now a similar scenario here, but it certainly sounds like it was kind of cleared up today.
Dude, he has not answered a phone call yet. Is Kyler Murray going first? He has not moved.
I would say he did not look real happy on that.
Oh, wait, they're on the phone. Finally, they have action. Why did you guys? Okay, first of all, okay, all right. You've been on the clock for freaking what? Fucking months, and here we are. You're finally on the phone. We've been waiting 7 minutes here. What are we doing? Make the pick.
Yeah. So one of two things. Either they were really hoping for some last minute Godfather offer that they couldn't refuse, or the NFL told them for marketing and commercial purposes not to turn in the pick in the first 30 seconds.
Greg, do not correct me.
So I don't know which one, but either they were thinking they were going to get bowled over with some ridiculous offer, or, for marketing reasons, I could see that maybe they might hint at the not wanting to rush into those picks.
Yeah, well, Ian Rappaport was just on NFL Network, and he said that he's reporting that the Giants and Redskins, from what he has heard, have stated that if they go with if they go with Kyler Murray, that they are very interested in Josh Rosen. So that's very interesting because who knows? Maybe the Redskins will be the team that ends up with them from the beginning here. They've been the team that have sounded like they've had the most interest in him from the very beginning. Maybe they give up pick 15 for him. I don't know, but
financially, they're in the toughest spot, obviously, because of the injury guarantees with Alex Smith. So I always thought, just from a roster construction cap standpoint, they had the most impetus, even if it meant giving up the 15th pick. It's almost worth it for them to get him at such a discount and kind of make up for, wasn't their fault, but such an unfortunate situation with Smith that they always made the most sense. I can't believe it's now under a minute and they haven't made this pick yet. It's crazy.
I know. Well, and if the clock gets to 0, don't they forfeit the pick?
We could have the Vikings and Kevin Williams when they were trying to work out the trade for Byron Leftwich, and all of a sudden they missed it, and teams were jumping up ahead of them to make their picks.
Yeah.
That'd be hysterical.
The clock just reset, dude.
Why did the clock that can't be right? Okay, I was going to say that's got to be San Francisco's clock, not their clock.
Oh, okay, the pick is in.
Okay. We are finally there with the first pick of the 2019 NFL Draft. So obviously this first one, they're going to have to boo Goodell, I assume.
What'd you say?
So I said they're obviously going to have to boo Goodell when he comes out.
100%. That happens every time.
Yeah.
It's weird that they get the next team on the clock. Like, you're going to take this entire first round to get players up on the board. Just take your time.
I think that there's also – I think we got into it last year. I remember it was almost like 3 picks behind of what had actually been turned into the league versus what they were announcing on TV. So I do think the clock is running right now on San Francisco and the deals that they could make and anything that's out there. So I think that we'll start seeing them coming a little bit quicker here when it pops back on under San Francisco.
Right. I'm taking my headphones out.
Okay. Kyler Murray is officially the pick here. So,
holy crap. The bet on himself paid off.
It's crazy, and good for him, having a guy that, can you imagine being a first-round pick in baseball and a first-round pick in football? That's just an incredible accomplishment. So good for him. I still think it's kind of weird that Arizona was the one that made the pick, but, him going number 1, I good for him. I'm happy for him.
Yep. Yeah, and there he is giving high fives and hugs to teammates Marquise Brown and Cody Ford.
Yeah, Cody Ford is an enormous human.
He's a giant person. It's insane. I don't know why. I feel like the pink with almost looks like red pinstripes to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but the pink with the red pinstripes, I think almost was kind of planned. I mean, he's got the maroon pocket square.
Yeah.
Maybe it's maroon. I'm sorry, whatever.
No, it's right. That certainly matches an awful lot of the Cardinals' colors there. It's
maybe it's black. I don't know. You can't really tell. It could be.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Obviously, for Russell and I's fashion advice, we will.
Yeah, I have zero, by the way. I'm wearing shorts with paint on them and a god awful rookie Stafford jersey.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see the shots start flowing when they trade down and take Daniel Jones.
Don't do this to me.
I think the Lions are going to be. I think the Lions are going to go pass rusher. I do. I think that makes the most sense. I think that the take advantage of the defensive line talent. I think you're going to be happy in about 45 minutes here.
Yeah, well, it's going to be longer than 45 minutes, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The way they're making everybody wait for the picks, it might take a little while here.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have any comments, questions, or concerns in the chat, or comments or anything?
Mike Stock asked the same question. One of the ones we just asked about. What happens with Josh Rosen now? And I know you were running through the couple there. So what was the rumor that you heard? Assuming this pick
from and don't mind my family as they trample around upstairs like
no, you're good. It sounds all right.
A bunch of cattle. Jesus. But yeah, no. Ian Rappaport reported on NFL Network here that he is hearing that the Giants and the Redskins are the two teams that are trying to talk with the Cardinals on making a deal for Josh Rosen if they're interested in Josh Rosen. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it happens at like pick 15 or 17. Maybe we'll see it in the middle of this first round. I don't know. But right now, pick number 2 is 524, or with 5:24 to go, is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, at least their clock did start on time. A question that came in here, Jason Suritz and Mike Stock were talking about, what is your reason? Why is Cody Ford seen as kind of a middle of the first round guy where Jonah Williams, Dillard, Juwan Taylor is at the top end? A couple of people saying that they thought Cody Ford might be one of the best pass blockers in the draft. What are some of the reasons that maybe Ford isn't seen on the same tier as some of those guys?
Jonah Williams is just the most complete left tackle in the draft. I think he's a left tackle. He's a true technician, top 5 player overall. Juwan Taylor, with his power, his grip strength, his ability in the run game, and his just – I like his footwork. I thought there was times that he looked, a little bit off balance or second guessed himself a little bit. But overall, I like Cody Ford, but I don't like him enough over Taylor and Williams. I think those guys just have a little bit more potential. Again, Williams, I think, is a plug-and-play guy, where Cody Ford, do you plug him in as a right tackle? Do you plug him in as a right guard? Where do you necessarily put him? But also, Cody Ford didn't test great, which I think hurt him a little bit. But don't overthink that. The tape is pretty good. He's a really good pass blocker. He's got great footwork. And again, he's one of those guys with relatively good grip strength, and he's got the length to play the position.
Yeah, I said the same thing in the chat. I really think it comes to technique. I think that Cody Ford is a big grizzly bear of a man, and I think that he's a mauler who can beat guys up and probably is a better pass blocker than what that kind of describes. But Williams is so technically sound, always good hand placement, always good footwork. Just is really solid. The wars that he went through in the Alabama practices every day, constantly against first-round pick guys on that Alabama defensive line every single day. I just think that he's kind of a galvanized, tried and true kind of player there. Looks like the pick is in for the San Francisco 49ers. When Goodell goes to the podium, I'll take it off mute and listen to the let him make the pick here.
Yeah, we'll see what he says here. I mean, I'm assuming it's Nick Bosa. I'd be shocked if it was anything else.
It's certainly been what's been said the whole time.
Yeah, what I'm paying attention to now is what that clock says behind Roger Goodell. Is it going to say the Jets or is it going to say the Bills?
I think it's getting interesting here. Obviously, if something gets crazy and Quinnen Williams is the pick here, that could change things. I assume you're right. I think that everything I've heard is that Bosa is going to be the pick here. And I know I think we're going live to the commissioner now.
He is going to be making the pick.
The San Francisco 49ers select Nick Bosa. Okay.
To be expected. I mean,
no surprise there.
He's the best edge rusher in the class. He's got the size that you possess out of a player in that position, 6'4", 265. He ran well at the combine. He looked the part. He's got to stay healthy, of course. There was the abdominal issue there, or a core injury, pardon my French. But as far as an edge rusher, I mean, he's got the pass rush plan. He's got the hand usage that you want. What did he have? 6 tackles and 4 sacks in 3 games this year. So, I mean, this guy is really good. I don't think he should have won Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year. Or, I'm sorry, that was in 2017. I thought that said 2018. I was about to just go on.
When he played every game, he deserved it. But, that would have been a reach this year with some of the other talent that was around.
Don't mind me. But this is where the fun begins right now. The Jets, Oakland, Tampa, the Giants. This is it right here. The meat and the potatoes.
I think we could see you could see the Redskins trade up here. You could see Oakland do a small step to trade up here just to stop somebody else from getting the quarterback they want. You could see the Giants trade up here. You could see Buffalo trade up here. Really interesting spot here with the Jets. Obviously selfishly, I don't want to see the Jets get a great return here. So I'm hoping that they make some kind of harebrained decision and aren't able to auction this off to the highest bidder.
Right.
But, we'll kind of see where it goes here. We've seen a couple different teams rumored to it. If they do, a lot of people in here are asking, like I said earlier, the only scenario I can see where Brandon Beane agrees to this trade is if he thinks he's getting a value he can't refuse. That value is not going to include a 2020 first-round pick. So if there's a request for the 2020 first-round pick, I think that takes the Bills off the board. I think that maybe you could see a 2020 second, and then probably when you get into a third or a fourth, that's probably less of a deal breaker. I think there's enough picks here. Nick Lowe and a couple other guys brought up. I do think Shaq Lawson is a possibility, especially if they maybe have a deal, hammered out with a Ziggy Ansah kind of guy
you don't want
that makes sense. You've warned us already that that's damaged goods, but
at the same time, you really I know giving up Shaq Lawson is okay, no big deal, but at the same time, do you really want to give up Shaq Lawson?
He's a rotational player. He's a contributing, legitimate player.
Yeah, and if he can turn it on, and maybe a change of scenery is good for him, but I wouldn't want that change of scenery to be in a divisional opponent, but. I don't know. We'll see. I actually have to pull up my mock draft. I don't even know what my mock draft is anymore. I don't even.
I mean, obviously, the logical pick here is
Quentin Williams. I'm pretty
sure it's
going
to be Quentin Williams. I'll be shocked. I've seen Ed Oliver mocked a handful of times. I know some people are speculating that there's been a trade made. I don't see anything being confirmed here, but. I think that it would be awful exciting to be able to see someone move up and make a deal here. And I think a lot of people are throwing things out here trying to get some excitement going. As of right now, the Jets are still the team on the clock. We are at 4.5 minutes left here. Curious to see if anything
I think
else.
I think we're gonna get to that 2.5. I think in about 2 minutes we'll know. I think 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. We'll know for sure if they're keeping this pick or if they're trading it. I mean, I guess he could come out and announce it and say the Jets traded the pick to the blanket, Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Bills. So I guess he could do it that way. But
so Adam Schefter just tweeted Jets trying to trade out right now is the current one.
Yeah, if Schefter tweets something, you have to tell me because I don't know. I'm blocked.
No. Later on when we're filling time, we're going to need some explanation on why that is.
I don't know why it is.
So Mortensen just said the fun begins now with the Jets. No one is speculating on who. I'm not seeing any sourced information saying it, but I think they're going to run this down to the last minute here. We've got 3 minutes to go. I really don't want to see the Jets get Quinnen Williams. That's going to make me sad. So I'd love to see them mess something up here and make a silly decision.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone watching has been looking for me to make some crazy faces. This is going to be your opportunity. I may make some crazy faces if they do something off the wall here.
Well, NFL Update at My Sports Update, which is normally relatively credible. 32 minutes ago, the account said the Raiders are trying to move up. They have had talks with the 49ers and the Jets. So clearly the 49ers not happening. Maybe the Jets happen here.
Yeah.
Like, what would you give up, though? I don't understand.
And I think that if you saw the Raiders move up here, it's purely a blocking move. If they had Quinnen Williams or Josh Oliver or Josh Allen clearly in their sights and they don't want someone else to move up for it, that's the kind of move that, I could see them possibly making. Again, I don't want to see the Jets. I think that really helps the Jets capitalize without losing any real value, because then they would just get whoever's left out of that deal, or could trade down a second time.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't know that I want to see that.
But you know what? What this tells me is that the Raiders have Quinnen Williams on top of their board. They're trying to get him. And if they can't get him here, again, I think that kind of goes to the point of, all right, maybe they trade back, or maybe they take Ed Oliver. I guess Josh Allen would be a candidate as well. But what it tells me is if they're trying to move up, then and if they try to get to 2 or 3, they were looking for Nick Bosa, but realistically, it sounds like Quinnen Williams was the guy. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But this just went to commercials, so I hate when you can't see anything.
Yeah, NFL Network keeps it decent. They still have the ticker going at the bottom, but no information up. Nobody talking here. Nothing's coming up to this point. They're down. We are at a minute
20.
Minute 15 seconds here. 15? The pick is in. They just clicked over the clock.
Oh, boy.
So they have not put up the indicator that there is a trade.
I am refreshing as much as I can. I don't have anything, so I don't know.
It sounds like the pick is in. It does not look like there's a trade.
Be Quinnen Williams, I'll be 3 for 3. Just saying.
And if it is the choice here, it's certainly the logical choice.
They just said the Raiders are on the clock. Wait, is that Christian Wilkins?
That it? Why is Christian Wilkins clapping? That can't be right. It has to be Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
If they're making a pick, I will be flabbergasted if it's not Quinnen Williams.
I'm taking out my headphones. You just keep doing your thing.
All right, I got it. And we're a whole minute into the next pick with the Raiders on the clock, so I'm waiting for.
It's going to be Quinnen. It's going to be Quinnen Williams.
It's got to be. It has to be.
He was on the phone.
Okay. That saddens me greatly. I did not want to see the Jets get a stellar player who I think is the top player in the draft. Same thing that happened with Leonard Williams, fall into them the year that he fell into their lap. So I'm sad to hear that they didn't find a way to mess this up, but I'll still hold out some glimmer of hope until I actually hear him say it out loud.
Yep.
Yeah, we are already 2 minutes into the next pick clock, and they still haven't brought the commissioner up to the podium here.
Jets are taking Quinnen Williams.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the case. All right, here we go. We will hear the official announcement here.
With these people. With the third pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Quinnen Williams, nose tackle, Alabama.
So that's a pick that certainly makes sense here. A little sad, got a little excited about the possibility of that happening earlier today and being able to move up. I think that's pretty much what we described. The fact that Brandon Beane did not get the value that he wanted. I'm glad that he stuck to his guns and didn't give up too much, or didn't give up a 2020 first, or didn't give up to some crazy bounty of picks here. in 2019. So, I'm disappointed they didn't find a way to get him at a discount, but the fact that they didn't give up too much, I'm comfortable with to be able to go there.
Yeah, no, I like this pick a lot. I mean, I know it's disappointing for Bills fans. You get excited. You're thinking, okay, maybe we're getting Oliver or especially a player like Quinnen Williams. But good for the Jets. Good for them staying put and doing what they need to do. I know Bills fans, it hurts to say that. But
no, it's fine.
You get a player that you can plug and play in the middle of your defense. He's going to help with Leonard Williams. You have now Quinnen Williams. You can still add an edge rusher. Maybe you look at a Ziggy Ansah in free agency. You still have a little bit of money to spend, but this is a good pick for them. So he's a disruptive player at the line of scrimmage in the backfield. He's got the size. He's still very young. You can really turn him into a transcending superstar into the league in New York. So I like this pick a lot for the Jets.
Sure. It certainly, from a Bills standpoint, it makes me feel a lot better that we signed Mitch Morse and Quentin Spain and a bunch of other really large humans up front, because we're going to need him to block this guy. He is a big boy. And certainly looks to have a very bright future ahead of him. So definitely interested to see how he pans out there. I'll cross my fingers that they find a way to mess that up, but he certainly looks like one of those guys who just can't miss prospect.
Yeah. It's good for them. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do here. I would have to think it's going to be Ed Oliver, but
I've heard that some connections with Josh Allen. This is another spot we could see a trade if someone wants to move up for a quarterback. I think there's a couple of directions it could go.
Yeah, it was reported that they are pretty high on Brian Burns too. So
could see a surprise. There.
Could be a surprise. I don't know why we don't have an NFL draft drinking game going on right now.
Yeah, we could have invented something new. I think being able to look at the combination of what they have together here, the Raiders, you saw Donald Penn moved on from, so maybe it's not crazy to see an offensive tackle this early. I don't know that any is right there at this level, but once you got past in my mind, Bosa and Quine, and you're Quinn, and you've now kind of moved into that next tier of players, so it's not crazy that you could see Jonah or Jawan Taylor or Andre Dillard or someone here. But I think most logically this would be a debate between Ed Oliver and Josh Allen in my mind.
Yeah, don't mind me as I mute my microphone going in and out. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and they just showed that defensive line right there. I mean, that's it's not great, but it's pretty damn good. Henry Anderson,
that's tough.
Yeah, Quinnen Williams.
Just having Leonard Williams and Quinnen Williams is enough. But that's certainly a formidable pairing, just the two of them.
Right. Trying to find anything on the Raiders, but as of right now, they're keeping the pick.
Yeah, a couple different people, Joe Biscaglia out there talking about, that they didn't give up too much to go up there to do that. That if Ed Oliver gets past Oakland here and gets to 5, that we could see them maybe make a move there. That might get into a more palatable situation where it's worth giving up something lesser to get to number 5 than it would take to go to number 3. So that's an interesting spot there where you could still get an elite high-level talent to be able to go that route. But it'll be interesting to see what comes up here. And obviously that could change dramatically. In my mind, if Ed Oliver goes here to the Raiders, I think that the Bills pivot immediately to trade down and that they'll be scrambling to move down into whether that's a significant distance or just a reasonable distance for some of the people looking to maybe get ahead of the Broncos for Devin Bush, to get ahead of some of the other ones for some of the quarterbacks. We haven't seen that second quarterback go yet. I think that they would pivot to that, and that it would be one of the other here with a chance to either jump up for Ed Oliver, or if Oliver goes here at 4, maybe looking to trade down into the mid-teens or so.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the Raiders do. I mean, really do. I mean, this is Mike Mayock's first draft. Ton of respect for him. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate to not see him on the NFL Network. Nothing against DJ, but I always enjoyed Mike Mayock and his analysis on things. But they're going to take this down to the wire. They're going to try to get a trade pulled off here for sure.
Yeah, I think Mayock wants as many darts as he can throw at the board. He just wants to collect as many as possible. So certainly interested to see, where that comes from. If he's able to pull something together here, I think he'd love to keep stockpiling picks and try to help rebuild this roster with the assets they pulled together.
Right. I wonder if the Raiders, Rappaport's on the
consideration, as by the way, is Josh Allen. Remember, this is the same organization that sent all their scouts home last week to try to keep this a secret. I'm told it could be a surprise at number 4.
Okay, keep an eye on all that. And then again, like I said, if you are trying to get Josh Rosen, who we are.
So nothing being reported now, just some speculation still that, it may be a surprise pick. So could be interesting to.
Yeah, it could be something like Dwayne Haskins, maybe, which is very much on the table. They moved him up the board. That's what Ian Rappaport just said. So, they've been linked to a QB a couple of times. Drew Lock was the one that I was thinking of, but the pick is in.
Yeah, I've heard, mixed messages. Some really like Dwayne Haskins. Again, I'm really surprised we haven't seen any trades yet. Everyone was kind of speculating what was out there and that there'd be all kinds of crazy moves. Looks like we've gotten to 4 picks without any trades so far. So that's a little bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Curious to see, where, if we start to see some movement here, obviously each step you go down becomes, a little bit less of a price tag to go there. So, this has to be a debate in my mind between Josh Allen and Ed Oliver. Do you think Devin White is in play here?
I think he is. He's certainly an athlete. He would be a fit with his athletic ability. Now, I think he's got to get better as far as a mental processor goes. He runs into a lot of the traffic at times and guesses. But, again, he flashes the range. He can drop into coverage. I don't like him as much as Devin Bush, so 4 is a little rich for me. But, it makes sense if they needed a linebacker, and I think that they do. But with Ed Oliver on the board, he's a top 5 player in the class. So take Ed Oliver and be done with it. But that's if I'm there. So we'll see what they do.
All right. I will turn over to audio here with our lovely commissioner, Mr. Roger Goodell.
On the Hotel TV.
The commissioner with the first pick of 3 for the Raiders tonight.
With the 4th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Cleveland Farrell.
Wait, what? Wait, what just happened?
They just take
Cleveland Farrell just went 4th in the draft. Woohoo! This is fun. So not tipping picks is awesome because that experience was fun. So Cleveland Farrell, defensive end for the Clemson Tigers, just went 4th overall. Wow.
Dude, the glasses came off. I can't see anything.
Russell is blind. I am shocked.
After the 4th pick, I went blind. Dude,
what just happened?
Okay. Let me put this.
Tell me something amazing about Cleveland Farrell.
No, I like Cleveland Farrell a lot. I'll tell you this. Danny Kelly is extremely high on him, and I'm going to have to probably put everything down for a minute and reach out to him and say, way to go. But this is a good pick. It's a little rich, no doubt about it. He probably would have been a guy that I would have suggested at 24, maybe not, but I would have maybe put something together to get to the teens, and I would have taken him. But again, he's got the length that you want. He's 6'5". He's got the size 270, 265. He fits that mold. He's got, again, length, power, speed. You're passing on Ed Oliver. You're passing on
Josh Allen.
It's interesting, but this is a guy that's a leader, a little stiff in the hips, but this is, I think, a Mike Mayock pick all day long.
If you had told me at the end of the first round, the Raiders were going to end up with Cleveland Farrell, I would have said, yeah, okay, that was a really good value. Good for them getting him at 24. You could have let me rattle off 20 names. I might not have gotten to him.
I wouldn't have guessed Cleveland Farrell. And now this puts Tampa Bay in a really tough spot. With Ed Oliver on the board. I know there's
all the rumors with Gerald McCoy. Is that your replacement for him?
Right, exactly. And then you have, somebody like Devin White. I mean, oh my God, that is a shock. I know I heard that they were going to shock some people with this pick, but I didn't think this. I was thinking more so like Hawkinson, Marquise Brown.
With Mayock, I almost had Andre Dillard in the back of my mind as the shocking pick to be the Donald Penn replacement.
Right.
So I will say for Bills fans, we talked last night on the pod, after you had dropped off and during the Cover One Premium Slack earlier today, that I said that the Bills needed two more surprises, that one would be a trade up for Dwayne Haskins, one would be a trade up for, Daniel Jones, or the Giants just picking Daniel Jones, but they need two surprises in the top 8 for one of those premium players to make it to them. That's surprise number one. So we have now one in the bag. There is no scenario that I thought Cleveland Farrell was going to be one of those top 8.
The next two are key right now.
I think both our teams, I think the Lions and the Bills both need Devin White to be the pick right now. Just lock it in. He's a replacement for Quan Alexander. If we can get Devin White as the pick here, then it starts to get really interesting that you still have some premium names left on the board and could have one of them make it to each of our squads here. Wow, Cleveland Farrell. That is wow. I would not have guessed that. I still would love to see one of the quarterbacks come up here. I'd still love to see somebody make a move to get ahead of the Giants. I'd love to see the Giants panic and feel like they need to take a guy here.
Well, Cleveland Farrell, 18th on my board. I had an 85 on as an overall grade for him, which would have actually put him at 15th. So he was basically a top 15 player for me. I was a big fan of him, and I think he's a pro-ready player. This is just – I mean, I thought maybe you could have moved down and still got him. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was rumblings that a team like the Giants were high on him. Maybe a team like Detroit were high on him. I haven't heard anything as far as the Lions being a team very interested in him. It's been pretty much Ed Oliver, Josh Allen, Jonah Williams, and TJ Hawkinson for the Lions and Montez Sweat. So
Nick Lowe in the chat said, "Don't worry, Russ. 3 out of 4 ain't bad." And I promise you, Russell, no one had Cleveland Farrell mocked to number 4, so I think we're safe there.
Yeah,
our brother in arms, Aaron Quinn, is in the chat here with us. Love seeing Aaron in there.
I'm leaving.
He asked, and I think makes a good question, is this a spot? We got a little carried away with the Cleveland Farrell thing here. Maybe this is where the Bills move up to get Ed Oliver and swap there. I think Tampa could absolutely feel comfortable. They could move down, maybe pick up a 3rd and a 4th and still get Devin White ahead of the Broncos at number 9. It makes a lot of sense for Tampa. That's a price I would be happy to give up and pay to be able to lock in Ed Oliver. I'd be happy to see a move here if the Bills were able to work that out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm still trying to
process Cleveland Farrell.
I mean, like it's a shocking move. I mean, this was a guy that was a top 15 player last year, was still a top 15 player this year. I mean, he's got a great motor, again, pro ready, length, power, speed, relatively good bend, a little stiff in the hips, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And maybe they just view him as far as, the highest potential. He's the best value. He's a pro-ready guy. You want a guy that you can plug in and help get rid of, only having 13 sacks for the year. You want a guy that can come in and maybe not get you 13 sacks in year 1, but 13 sacks down the line in his career in a season and in multiple seasons. And Farrell has that for sure. So shocking, no doubt about it. The pick is in, though, for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I've got my kid sitting next to me here. He's smirking. He doesn't know what to think.
I like it. Well, hey, tell him that's fine because we obviously have no clue either. He had just as good a shot at picking Cleveland Farrell as we did.
Yeah. What you have the Raiders doing? Ed Oliver, Quinn Williams?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I with both our teams,
I don't even know any players.
I want to see Devin White or an off the board pick here. Give me Devin White or an off the board pick, and we're in really good shape.
Yeah, let's just go Montez Sweat and be done with it.
Yes, Montez Sweat. Right, I love Montez Sweat. I'm a big fan of his, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, take Montez Sweat. Take Brian Burns. I'd lock in Brian Burns.
Yeah.
Give us not Josh Allen or Ed Oliver. My ideal scenario is those two make it to 8, and I don't care which one you pick.
So who do you want at 9?
Ed Oliver. I mean, Quinn Williams was my wish, but Ed Oliver was my number one. All right, I'm going to go to the audio.
A Make-A-Wish kid and a huge Buccaneers fan. Casey's been fighting cancer.
Oh, this is awesome. One of the Make-A-Wish kids is able to make the first-round pick here.
To be grand to announce the Buccaneers' first-round pick. We know this wish gives Casey the physical and emotional strength to face any challenges that come his way. Okay, Casey, now's the time.
Love to see that.
With the 5th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Devin White.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah, that's been a secret since that secret's been out since the combine. They fell in love with him, especially when Quan Alexander signed with San Francisco.
Absolutely.
And I think people really forget about that too. You know, San Francisco, not only do they have Quan Alexander and now not only do they have Nick Bosa, they now have Quan Alexander,
and D Ford.
And D Ford, exactly. So their defense definitely turned around quite a bit. And you got now Devin White into the mix for Tampa Bay, which is a good replacement for Quan Alexander. A little rich for me. I don't view him as a top 5 player, but I understand the athletic ability is there. The value, the ceiling is there. And by the way, 4 for 5 now on the pick.
Attaboy. This is a pick that I'm perfectly happy with. That's not a Cleveland Farrell, whoa, I'm blown away kind of pick, but was not a guy that was on the radar for either of our squads. Certainly was not a choice for the Bills, and is a nice pick for them and takes a guy off the board, pushes down that talent. We want to see Josh Allen and Ed Oliver keep falling down that board. I'd love to get one more surprise here. We need something fun to happen here. I'd really love to see Gettleman do something off the wall. I'm a little sad because I think Josh Allen's a pretty easy pick for him. That's a really logical connection with the edge talent that they're looking for. Traded away Olivier Vernon. That just makes a lot of sense to me. So I'll be really surprised if it's not Josh Allen for the Giants. But it's Dave Gettleman. So let's hope he does something wacky.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Ed Oliver selected for them. I think he's a natural fit for their defense. I think the pick will probably be Josh Allen simply because it's an edge rusher. But I selfishly wanted the edge rusher for the Lions. So,
same thing. I just ignore you when you say Ed Oliver. I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
Exactly. Well, and with the Lions, 8 of their 25 draft picks have been SEC players. So I wanted to stay in that trend.
I like it. I like it.
But yeah, certainly Ed Oliver makes sense for the Giants, but Josh Allen does too. He's explosive off the edge, does a really good job at the point of attack. I like him a lot. I mean, he's developed very well over the last 2 years, can drop into coverage. The hand usage is there. The size is there. The versatility is there. Everything that you want out of a guy, whether you put him in the dirt, you stand him up. And the Giants need that. So if it's not Josh Allen and if it's not Ed Oliver, it's got to be Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Samantha Smith in the chat was just asking, could we see the Bills trade up for Josh Allen? I think that Oliver would be the target, but Eric and I talked about this in the Cover One Premium Slack channel. We didn't put a ton of time into researching Josh Allen because we just assumed he was a slam dunk top 3 guy that was going to be taken. But if he's there, I mean, I'd love to have them try to figure out a way to make that kind of talent work. I think that he's better I keep thinking in a 3-4 outside linebacker role where you can take advantage of some of the off-ball skills as well as majority pass rush. But I could see the Bills making him work if they trade up, Samantha. I think that it would be for Ed Oliver, in my opinion. But, Josh Allen's a great talent, so I'd certainly be excited. It sounds like the Giants pick is in, and my guess is it's Josh Allen, but again, the same thing that we assumed with Ed Oliver, the same thing we talked about with the Buccaneers. This should be a choice between Allen and Oliver. Let's hope they do something wacky or off the wall here.
Yeah, I'd be a little shocked if it was not Josh Allen. Their pick was in relatively fast. I think they've been in the fastest so far.
Yeah. If you see something tipped, don't say it because I'm having fun listening to the commissioner break the news. This has been exciting. Eric Smeal in the chat saying the same thing. At least wait and see who's there before trading back. I absolutely agree with that. I think that we'll see the Bills. They would not move back preemptively. They'd wait and see because if Ed Oliver or Josh Allen makes it there, I think they sprint to the podium and take that. So I right now we need one more surprise. The Bills need one more surprise here or with the pick at 7 with Jacksonville or someone trading up with Detroit for an off-the-wall pick. All right, I'm going to go to audio with the commissioner.
Sixth pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Daniel Jones.
Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Woo!
Let's go.
Surprise number 2. That's what we needed, baby. All right. So we now have Cleveland Farrell and Daniel Jones as top 8 picks.
Now,
yeah.
I've got a question here for the mock draft people. And by the way, I've only got 10% on my laptop. I don't have my charger down here.
We're going to. Do you have a charger in your house somewhere?
Yeah, I do, but it's quite far away. I'd have to shift things around, which I can do, but we'll test it out. So at 6, I had the Giants take Ed Oliver. So clearly, I am now 4 for 6.
Okay.
But at 9, I did have them moving up with the Bills to get Daniel Jones.
So the Giants picking Jones was an accurate pick in your mock. I think you get partial credit for that.
Okay, so I'm like 5 of 6.
4.5 out of 6. I'll say you're 4.5 out of 6.
Right. So basically now to sum this up for people, Daniel Jones goes here. Jacksonville.
I think Jacksonville's got to look offensive line. They got their pick of the top 3 tackles. I think that's an easy pick for them with protecting Nick Foles.
Yeah.
If we get that and Josh Allen and Ed Oliver are both there for our teams, this could be a really fun night.
Maker's Mark.
I might have to go down to the hotel bar and get a celebratory drink.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, so Jacksonville.
They can't go defense, can they? They can't invest another premium pick in defense, can they?
No, they can't. They could, I guess, but Jonah Williams, T.J. Hawkinson again. I circle back to both those guys. I think it's going to be Jonah Williams, and I think we're going to see a slight slide for T.J. Hawkinson.
Okay. I wanted T.J. Hawkinson. I like him being there as a backup plan for the Bills, so I'd prefer he's not the pick. I'd rather it be – I think Juwan Taylor – I don't want that. I don't have any dislike for the Jaguars. I don't want them to pick some terrible player. I think Juwan Taylor makes a lot of sense for them. That's my guess is I think that they are connected. I could see Marone loving a big mauling, right tackle road grader like Taylor.
Right.
Obviously Jonah Williams, I think is the best offensive lineman in the draft, would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, and I'll break this one down for the Daniel Jones Giants fans out there, if there's any in the chat, and I don't mean to cut you off, but no. Daniel Jones, you get a guy with a ton of experience in the quick passing game. His passing attempts per game in his career was like 6.4. So while he does have the ability to chuck the ball deep, his tendency is to look quick and get the ball out of his hands quickly. But furthermore, they ran a ton of RPOs at Duke. In the summertime, I wrote a piece about Daniel Jones and the Duke offense, and their offense circles around inside zone, and then they run a ton of RPOs, run pass options off of that, and that leads to basically play actions, and it's up to Daniel Jones to either keep it and throw it or give it to the running back. And this makes a lot of sense because Pat Shurmur, when he had Case Keenum, which is why I loved the fact of Baker Mayfield for the Giants last year, if he was there at 2, they ran a ton of play action, and Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback in the draft last year for play action. Kyler Murray the same way, but Daniel Jones fits what Pat Shurmur needs. So now you have Barkley and Daniel Jones for the future to run a ton of RPOs and a ton of play action. I like it a lot as far as that goes. From a schematic standpoint.
It makes sense. My secret hope is actually that the Jaguars take DK Metcalf here. But my realistic hope, just like the Devin White pick at number 6, I think it just makes too much sense for this to be one of the offensive tackles. I'd prefer it's not Jonah, just so that he's still in play for the Bills. So I'm going to hope that it's Juwan Taylor or Andre Dillard, and that they keep both Josh Allen and Ed Oliver in play for the Lions and the Bills.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be Jonah. I think it's going to be Jonah Williams, Josh Allen, Ed Oliver. That's going to be the picks here.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. I could certainly see that. I'm going to guess the next 3 picks are Jaguars take Juwan Taylor, the Lions stay and take Josh Allen, and the Bills take Ed Oliver.
Very much a possibility. I am at 4%. So we are going to do some shifting here, folks. I'm going to turn my camera off and my audio as I make some adjustments.
No, go ahead. I'll take care of this. We'll kind of keep things rolling here. Looking to see as they come in here, once they go to the commissioner, I'll go to the audio for the Jags and for what this pick is. Obviously, this is what we talked about from a Bills standpoint. We needed 2 surprises tonight. We needed to be able to have a couple things go crazy. Obviously, one was Kyler Murray, not counted as a surprise, but needed that quarterback to go there. Then the Bills needed 2 more surprises to happen. In my mind, they've got that now. So in my mind, their worst case scenario is Jonah Williams, TJ Hawkinson. I think they have a real shot at Josh Allen or Ed Oliver. We're going to go live to the commissioner for the pick.
With the 7th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Josh Allen.
Okay. So Josh Allen is the pick for the Jaguars here. Crazy that they go defense again, but again, from a value standpoint, it's hard to argue with. Makes me a little bit nervous because I would get a little frustrated to see both Josh Allen and Ed Oliver go back-to-back right before the Bills here. I know there's been a lot of rumor of the Falcons trading up to number 8 to be able to get Ed Oliver ahead of the Bills. So I could see the Bills maybe being on the phone here. Maybe we give up a 4th and a 5th with the Lions to swap there just to make sure somebody doesn't jump us and we get Oliver. I don't think they'd give up a lot to do that, but they could give up a little something to kind of block that and make sure that we don't see anything else go there. So right now, as we get into, we've got our 2 surprises. We still have TJ Hawkinson, Jonah Williams, and Ed Oliver on the board. So I think the Bills' worst case scenario is they walk away with a really good player. I'd prefer that they were able to get Ed Oliver here. So we still need something going here. If the Lions stay and take TJ Hawkinson, if they take an offensive lineman, I think they could take Ed Oliver. I think that is certainly a possibility. Maybe they look at Brian Burns or Montez Sweat. We'll get Russell.
Hello, friends.
There we go. All right. So did you see the pick?
Yes.
Okay. So Russell is back with the maker's mark, drowning his sorrows. Unfortunately, this is similar. I'm worried that we're going to see both our worst case scenarios.
The Lions are going to trade down right now.
I bet their phones are flying, and that's what makes me nervous. Is I can see the Falcons now trading up to this spot to snag Oliver.
If they're going to go, the Lions are going to go Jonah Williams.
I am hearing that Schefter has said the pick is in. They did get calls, but the Lions decided to make a pick. Didn't say what it was.
No.
but that they're making it.
If it's Ed Oliver, I'm going to roar. Be Ed Oliver.
I can't lie. I don't want you to get Ed Oliver.
Please be Ed Oliver.
Aaron is saying in here, per reports, the Bills and Lions phones are lighting up and that everybody's trying to move around here. I'd honestly be fine if I'd love to see the Bills just give you guys a small little, bounty here to swap 8 and 9, and then we'll take Ed Oliver.
So the fall for Ed Oliver is real.
Interesting. I don't think there's any scenario he gets past number 9. I cannot imagine. I think it's very likely here that you guys either pick him or you trade with a team who picks him. I guess one of my best case scenarios is maybe you guys do a trade with, say, the Steelers to be able to get Devin Bush ahead of the Broncos, and then we still get Ed Oliver, and you guys get a good bounty to move down. So that might be a win-win here, where both of us can make out with something pretty strong. Maybe a move up from the Bengals or the Redskins to jump up to get Drew Lock or Dwayne Haskins. Be able to maybe see something there. I'm just trying to come up with things that don't involve you taking Ed Oliver.
I am tweeting, please be Ed Oliver.
And the pick is in. It sounds like we have a pick and not a trade.
Oh, my God. The pick is in. The kid announced it. That means one thing.
Oh.
Tyler,
so
tell me.
What is the next name that you wouldn't be upset about if it's not Oliver?
Ed Oliver or bust.
That's it?
Yeah. 100%. And I'm okay with taking Jonah Williams, but at the same time, you have to consider you have Taylor Decker, who would he be a guard? Could you play him at guard? I don't know. That's risky. Would you want to play Jonah Williams at guard? I guess.
What are your thoughts? I know, you're probably scarred from top 10 tight ends in
I
the
like
past.
Hawkinson, but
Hawkinson?
You just paid for Jesse James. It's a relatively good deal, but just stay off of that for right now. There's plenty of tight ends. You could maybe get Irv Smith. Yeah, I said it, AQ. I said it. You could get him. Maybe you get Chase Sternberger if you're looking for another tight end. It's got to be Ed Oliver. It just has to be. He's too versatile. I'm not a genius. Just think of this: Snacks Harrison and Ed Oliver together. Just do it.
It would make a ton of sense. It would make a ton of sense.
Like the Hound said to Arya in Game of Thrones, do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Come on, do it.
Oh, nice, Ron.
All right. Yeah.
Don't mind commentating for my child.
No, hey. He's, like I said, he's got as good a shot as anything.
Where is Ed Oliver on the board? Right there on that sheet of paper.
Number 3.
Number 3.
5 years later.
That's right. He is a bad man. I hope that my team gets him and not your dad's team. But if you guys get him, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah. Be happy for me.
All right. No, I still want you to get a good player. I think Hawkinson or Jonah Williams is still a good player. I want you to get one. All right. I'm going to go live with the audio.
All right, Tyler, turn it up.
With the 8th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select TJ Hawkinson.
Woo! Yeah. I'll pour you some shots. Oh, all right. Hawkinson is a very good player. You just drafted a really talented player. I think it's okay to be excited about a good, talented player for the Lions. TJ Hawkinson is a good pick. Is Russell still with us? All right. So right now, the Buffalo Bills are on the clock. They have their choice of Jonah Williams or Ed Oliver. I would love to see this be Ed Oliver. I think that this would be a perfect opportunity to be able to pull together a huge building block and replacement for Kyle Williams. This is exactly what we were looking for. Yeah, I'm hoping that we make good on this here and don't waste this amazing opportunity to get the number 3 player in the draft. And opportunity cost is a
look. I love T.J. Hawkinson.
I was just going to say,
best tight end in the class. Yeah. Great inline blocker. Good route runner. Secures the catch away from his body. They're
add Oliver, people.
Oh,
this organization, man. If he is not Rob Gronkowski 2.0, this is a dropped. This is terrible, awful, god awful. Again, at like,
yeah. Sometimes, just like we talked about with the Jets, sometimes it's just not messing it up. It's just being able, when you have a value or something, dropping to you, being able to, jump it, that kind of thing. I think that we have to be able to cash in here. And again, I'm hoping that the Bills don't pass on this with that kind of opportunity. It's got to be. And Hawkinson was kind of my backup plan there. I think Jonah Williams would have been in good shape, but man, they gotta snag this here.
Top 10, with most teams believing that the target would be Houston defensive tackle Ed Oliver, the player the Bills wanted. Now they didn't trade, they stuck right where they are, and if they want to take Oliver, he's actually right there for the cost of nothing.
So yeah, Rappaport was just reporting that the target the Bills were trying to move up for in those trades was Ed Oliver, and the fact that they may get him now for free without having to move down, sounds like they are pretty excited about it.
Must be nice.
I'm trying really hard not to twist the knife here. All right, they just clicked over the timer. It sounds like the pick is officially in. They did not trade down. I am really hoping that the pick is Ed Oliver.
Top 10 tight end again.
Yeah, you don't want to blame. Obviously TJ Hawkinson has nothing to do with Eric Ebron. That's not his burden to bear.
At least 5 years, not 2 in a row.
But that's certainly. Oh, come on.
It's got to be Ed Oliver.
It has to.
I'm hoping it's Ed Oliver just so we can sign this thing off. I have things to do now. I don't know. At least it wasn't a quarterback.
No, you got a talented player. You got
but not the third best player in the class, Greg. Not at 9. You're getting the third best player in the freaking class at 9.
Yeah, we might. We might.
No, you are. You are 100% ours.
I can't lie. That does sound like it's a possibility here. All right, I am going to go live to the audio. You can feel free to sign off when he makes the pick if you feel like you need to.
In the 2019 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select
Woo! Woo! We got Ed Oliver for free. Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
You know what I can't wait for? Ed Oliver to become an All-Pro.
Woo! Ed Oliver for free. Yeah.
Why can the lion
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. You got a really good player. I can't lie. I'm really, really happy that the Bills got Ed Oliver. Oh, that's such a great fit. Yeah. Brandon Bean, discipline, stayed there, didn't overpay to move up. Yeah.
50 tackles for loss or no gain since 2016. We passed on him at 8. The third best player in the draft.
Oh.
Why? Okay, well, I'm going to go fix my sorrows somewhere.
Thank you for your help tonight. You were awesome. There's still a lot of hard work coming here. Everybody check out, Russ NFL Draft on Twitter. Check out the Cover One Draft podcast. Russ and Christian and everyone do an awesome job. I'm not going to twist the knife and make you sit through any more of this. Thank you for everything tonight, and I wish you all the best and a peaceful sleep.
Yeah, there's going to be no sleeping. All right, brother. We'll talk to you guys.
All right. Thank you, man. Oh, all right, guys. I can't lie. This has gone about as well as we could have expected here. The Bills got the 2 surprises they need. They got both Cleveland Farrell and Daniel Jones in that top 8. We predicted that last night, or asked for that last night, said we needed 2 surprises in order for this to work out. I was honestly thinking it was going to be in order to make sure that a Jonah Williams or TJ Hawkinson got pushed down. Getting to the point now that we got Ed Oliver for free, this is a near perfect scenario. This was the number 3 guy I had on my board. I certainly was a little excited earlier about the Quinnen Williams idea, but being able to sit here and get Ed Oliver without giving up any assets, and we still have 9 more picks to go, is really exciting. I'm not planning on jumping back on later tonight, but I would advise all Bills fans to stay very active watching the late part of the draft here. I think that there is a very strong possibility we could see them try to jump ahead of the Patriots and the Packers at the tail end. If we see something like a Noah Fant fall, if we see maybe even DK Metcalf, Andre Dillard, obviously with Ed Oliver being picked now, I think Christian Wilkins is kind of out of play. But we could see some of those players you've seen the Bills linked with here being able to move in late into the first round. I'd say it's most likely that that's our only pick for tonight, but I would stay connected to the end of the draft here. It is possible. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Obviously, this went about as well as we could possibly hope. This was a ton of fun. The chat was awesome. Thank you all guys very, very much. We had a blast tonight. Come on over, check out cover1.net. The team did a fantastic job. All of these guys that you hear drafted, you're going to be able to look up amazing write-ups. You're going to be able to look up in-depth analysis, see breakdowns, video cut-ups, everything of the guys that are being picked here. You're going to be able to really find out a lot of information about the guys that are there. I'm going to go dive in even more to Ed Oliver. I'm ecstatic that that's the pick that we got. This is an absolute perfect scenario, getting the top 3 player in the draft at number 9 at a position of need without having to give up anything is as good as we possibly could have hoped for. This is an ideal scenario for the Bills tonight. Really excited about what they were able to do, and really appreciate all your time tonight. So come on over, check us out at cover1.net, join as a premium member. Please jump in and hit the subscribe button on our videos here so you get the next breakdowns as they come up. We'll continue to bring out more of those. But thanks, everybody, tonight. We'll look forward to more picks here throughout the weekend. Really appreciate everything you guys have. Go Bills.